Welcome to the 25th Hour podcast, where amazing, successful business owners share their strategies on how they get more done every day. I'm your host, Lisa Curley Malice, and today's guest is Freia Ramsey, who's a yoga therapist, studio owner, and entrepreneur. She works privately and in groups, empowering her students with the tools of yoga to release chronic tension and pain in the physical body and stress and anxiety that is held in the emotional and mental bodies. She believes that the practices should meet each person where they are instead of trying to make the person fit into a preconceived notion of what the body should look like or be able to do. You will love this session with Freia. She is exceptionally authentic about her journey with time and her journey as a business owner, and shares some strategies on how she resets herself throughout the day to make sure that she can stay productive. Sit down, get comfortable, and listen in to this session with Freia Ramsey. Hi, Freia, and welcome to the show.
Hi, Lisa. Thank you for having me.
I'm super excited you're here. I know that you have had an amazing journey with time management and with owning your own business. And I'm curious, what is one of the things that you do to help you stay in control of your day?
The number one thing that I do is I work every day to regulate my nervous system, which basically means down-regulate my nervous system because I'm highly susceptible to stress, triggering that stress response. And then once it gets activated, I can go, but then my energy is I don't have as much energy and it's not as sustainable. And so the more that I'm able to regulate my nervous system, calm and soothe myself, take little mini breaks, then the better my brain works in between and the more I'm able to accomplish the things that I need to accomplish.
Okay, so for the people who don't speak yoga, what does that mean, regulate your or down regulate your nervous system?
It just basically means turn on the off switch for the stress response. So we all have stress, and it's not going to go away, and we have things that we have to do that we have to accomplish. But what happens is it gets stuck in the on position, and so then even when we don't have something to do, like I was telling you the other day, it was my day off, and I just kept thinking, I think I have something to do. I think I should be working right now. And I kept trying to convince myself, no, really, it's okay to just be calm and relaxed and, take a whole day off. So once that stress response gets triggered, it's really challenging for it to turn off by itself if you don't have a practice in how to do it. So it's good to have the skills to be able to turn it off, rest, restore your battery, and then be able to move forward.
So what's a concrete strategy for how to turn it off? Because I know you have them because you've shared them with me and I use them. So what's one?
The simplest one is diaphragmatic breathing. So when you breathe down into your diaphragm, you slow down your breath, then you're slowing down your brain waves, calming and soothing your nervous system.
So what are some triggers that happen that personally it's time to go back and down regulate? Like, what are some things that happen to you?
One thing is if I'm focusing on something on the computer, I'll find it's more challenging to stay focused, or if it's something that's, I'm having to figure out, my frustration tolerance is a lot lower. Sometimes just getting that foggy, fuzzy brain feeling, those are cues that say, hey, your brain needs a little break and it's not broken. It will work again and just unplug it, give it a little time to reset, and then it'll work again.
I love that analogy. Just unplug it. Give it some time. Like, because that's my answer with all things tech. Like if the computer doesn't work, if anything, just unplug it, plug it back in. Now I can use that for my brain. Just unplug it for a minute.
Absolutely.
Oh, I love that. All right. So what other strategies? Like this is a huge one. Love it. What else do you do? Because I know there's a couple other things that you do to help you stay in control of your day.
So I do a morning meditation. It's not long, just some what I call like developing or creating a storehouse of equanimity. So like building up that place within me that can maintain that calm. Um, that equanimity just basically means that you have calm control on the inside. You're not reacting to everything. And so the meditation contains that and some positive affirmations, and then also gratitude to kind of bring me into that space, especially if I'm feeling grumpy or feeling like I have to do something that I don't really want to do that day, reminding myself that I have a lot to be grateful for, that I chose that, whether I believe it in the moment or not, that I did choose what's on my calendar. Um, and then I'll write down, maybe a couple things I'm grateful for, write down my affirmation as I'm looking in my planner. Um, and I have a hard copy planner, and we talked a lot about this when I worked with you, that for me, that's an important component, that it is sometimes more work to then put it into the computer. But I need that tangible, paper, hard copy. And I look at that every morning, and sometimes I feel like that's a meditation, just like looking at it, going, okay, I'm visualizing what I need to do today, trying to, program it in. So that's a really important piece. And then halfway through the day, I take a break and do a yoga nidra, which is a guided meditation. 22 minutes is the shortest one that I do. I do offer to my students shorter ones because I know we have to do what we can do, and for some people, 22 minutes might be, just not feasible. And, it really takes 30 minutes. By the time you lay down, you get comfortable, you put the meditation on, then you get up. But if I have the time, I'll do an hour one. So I feel like for me, that's really, really important to break up the day. Um, Again, just the idea that I'm resetting. It's like I'm starting over again. I wake up from my meditation, I stretch, I do the yawn stretch, and so it's almost like a new day in a way.
So as you're talking about breaking up your day, and what are some types of like, does it differ types of activities in the first half of your day versus types in the second half?
Well, thanks to you and our work together, I found that I have two high focus times a day. So I have one in the morning and then one in the afternoon, as long as I do my yoga nidra. If I don't do my yoga nidra, I don't have that one in the afternoon.
Okay.
Um, or it kicks in later and then it kind of messes with my evening routine and sleep. So it's about 3 hours in the morning and about 3 hours in the afternoon. And depending on what I'm doing, like if I'm really engaged in a project, it can be pushed out for sure. But like at hour 3, I wouldn't then start a new project that I have to really think hard. If I'm already engaged in one, then I can keep going. So it's been really helpful to understand that about, like as you said, our battery, like our motivation is a battery. So not thinking there's something wrong with you. If your battery's not full at that moment, it doesn't mean you're lazy or, you can't accomplish anything. Um, so those two chunks of time, and then one chunk um, I try to make just just for whatever project I have. So like I said, that high focus time, right? The three hours is just for a project, which is very challenging for me. So I'm not once I get into it. I definitely have that ability to hyper focus, but it's getting into that spot with no distractions and also the 3 hours is a big chunk of time when people are calling or emailing or texting or a teacher calls in sick or something's always happening, I guess is my point. And so to just be like 3 hours, nobody bother me. I already do that with my hour in the middle of the day, so it's kind of asking a lot to say I'm off limits again. I don't know, she's hiding again. she's um, so it's been a challenge, but I keep working on it, and you know, with your encouragement, not giving up on thinking that I have the right to that time, and that I can eventually have enough chunks of time in my weekly, monthly calendar to get all of my big projects done.
Right. And what I love about you sharing this is I am envisioning right now someone coming into the studio. Where's Freya? Oh, she's in her high focus time and cannot be bothered.
like like we have yoga speak, but then we also have time management speak.
Right. Well, and I remember the one time I dropped in and they're like, "Oh, are you looking for Freya? She's in yoga nidra right now and she'll be out shortly."
Oh, I love it.
And I was like, "Oh, I love this so much." Because both of those things you need to be the best version of you.
Mhm.
Yoga nidra to recharge your high focus time to get the things done for your business that only you can do, like in your zone of genius, creating new content, creating workshops, thinking through your employee stuff. Like that's what you do best.
Mhm.
And you need that time.
Yeah, but it's easy to forget and think that I'm needed to do all of the little things that, that I find myself doing when I come in and come into the studio, and then I'm like watering plants or like pruning plants or dusting or things like that. And I think, oh, wait, what would Lisa say? What would she say?
Lisa would say, "Come do my plants." That's what Lisa would say.
A desk person that is actually in their job. There's actually a cleaning person, but I when you see something in front of you, sometimes it feels easier to just do it in the moment. And one thing that we've talked about, which has been helpful for me, is actually scheduling in time for me to do those things because I do enjoy it. Not that I want to be in charge of cleaning everything, but those little where you're just kind of putzing around and straightening up your environment and making it look pretty, and that there's something that feels really nurturing about that as long as it's not done in a state of anxiety or stress.
Right.
So we did. We scheduled some time in for me to just putz around. So it's valuable. It's really helpful for me for my um, not feeling like I'm always rushed or
Right.
always have to get something important done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I absolutely. As you're telling us about the different parts of your day and those types of things, you mentioned something about how sometimes it can be a little tougher to get into that 3 hour block.
hmm
What strategies, if any, do you use to get yourself into that time?
Um, Mostly, I think when I meet with Lisa, she's going to say, "Did you do your high focus?"
Okay, so if we were to broaden that out for our listeners, you use external accountability,
right, right.
right? Because there is something about, I mean, obviously, if you haven't clued in yet, Freya and I have a personal relationship and a professional relationship. And there is something, though, about being accountable to someone outside of you to keep you on the straight and narrow.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's so important in me having that is that my husband and I, he's the co-owner of the business, and so there's a lot of overlap in our personal and our private life, which can be challenging. It can be wonderful too, but at the same time, I didn't feel like it was fair to ask him to be my accountability person. Like it's too many people or too few people doing too many different jobs. Like a
Right.
chart that was like your board. Was that what it was called? That
Yeah, your board of directors.
director. So, when we went through that, I was like, oh, thank God I have Lisa because otherwise poor David is getting like everything.
I know. And the first time I did my board of directors, one person had all the slots except for one. I was like, "Oh, I need to diversify my board." And for those of you who are not familiar with board of directors, I will try to find something to put in the show notes. But basically, it's looking at the people who support you in different areas, mentorship, leadership, whatever the areas may be for your personal board. And then you find people to sit in those spots, and I will try to find a reference for you. But Frey and I have this common language based on a program that we've gone through that has shared this. But my experience was same as yours, Freya. I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh no, if this person moves away, what do I do?" And then she did. And I was like, "I have no one on my board."
And you're like, when she went to move away, you're thinking, well, I know it's your life and all, but really, you can't do that to me. I'm sorry. It's
Right.
Yeah.
You've totally decimated my board of directors.
So the funny thing to me, or the ironic thing, is that the more scheduled and routine that I've gotten through working with you, working with Lori, um, just understanding. So to backtrack a little bit, Lisa and I met 5 years ago
Yes.
at a Red Key board meeting, which is a women's networking group. And that was kind of the beginning of my journey from going from thinking of myself as a yoga teacher, a yoga therapist, to a businesswoman. And I had a lot of challenges. I had for a long time decided that that was not my zone of genius. And because of that, because of those beliefs about myself around that, I didn't try very hard in some of the areas. I was just kind of like, nah, I'm no good at that, so why even bother? It's just that negative self-talk that can defeat us from making progress. So it is kind of a joke amongst me and my students that I have a time management coach, because then I get to say, well, imagine what I was like before. So I wouldn't necessarily say I'm your best advertisement unless people knew me before, because there's been huge shifts, not just in my ability to like be on time or to be prepared, but also in my mindset around all of that and my belief in my ability to grow and change in those areas. And so thank you so much. I mean,
Well, you are more than welcome. And you have, I always laugh when you're like, imagine how I was before. And I knew you before, and you weren't like a horrible hot mess or anything like that. Like you like to pretend.
for the camera, like, and then you're like, action, you're like, hi.
Yes.
To my very peaceful life. And then there's like craziness happening behind the scenes. Yeah,
Well,
so
but I think about your journey because it has been a journey. It's been 5 years.
mhm,
And your journey you've identified, wait, I am capable of doing these things and I can show up in a manner in which is consistent with my beliefs.
mhm,
And you have worked diligently at it all
mhm,
the way along the way. Nobody's perfect.
mhm,
One of the great things I love about our partnership is that you will remind me constantly it's a journey. Your self care and being able to breathe and down regulate and all of those things is a journey. And it's the same from time management.
right,
We're
right.
just on a path. It's not like, and we've shared this before. It's not about always going up. It's about when you fall down, realizing it quicker so
Mhm,
that you can come back up. It's
mhm.
not about constantly being up because that is not possible. We're humans.
And then, but I think that we all, our tendency is to latch onto this one area in our life that we um, are maybe more talented or gifted in or just drawn to, and then we, excel in that area. And it can be really scary to branch out into other areas. And so I give people, for instance, who start yoga later in life so much credit for trying something new that oftentimes you're trying it new in front of other people that you don't know, and it's awkward to learn new things, but especially if it's a physical thing, because then you're being awkward outwardly. And, um, so it does take a lot of courage. And I think I love that you and I have these opposite gifts that we can share with each other, but in a way that's like very, um, what's the word? I know the Sanskrit word.
Share that.
Vinyasa krama, which is like an intelligent step-by-step process to go from where you are to where you want to be.
Yes.
Understanding that where we are and where we want to be is not a single leap. And that's so hard when you don't know how to do something and you're learning something new. And I found this with myself, with especially some computer stuff in the past, since COVID, that I get so frustrated with myself for not getting it the first time or not understanding. And I think I would never expect one of my yoga students to be able to come in and have that understanding and ability right away.
Right.
So trying to translate that patience in one arena or that understanding to all areas of your life.
Yes. I like how you said that patience,
Mm,
that kindness, the like, would you like, I would never talk to you the way I talk to myself
right.
and vice versa.
Right.
I'm sure, or at least I hope so. I
Yes.
hope you wouldn't.
No, absolutely. When we become conscious of those, that inner critic, sometimes it blows me away the things that she says. And I think we all have a mean girl or a mean boy. Maybe we have both inside. Like, and but that voice isn't even the enemy. Like,
Right.
the problem is believing it. Not that it's not going to go away necessarily. It's not going to stop. We're always going to have like all the different voices, all the different things happening in our mind, um, but we don't have to believe everything that it
Right.
said, and that's the difference.
Right. Yes. Amen.
Yeah.
So, so you've mentioned yoga. We've talked about yoga. Tell us more about Taproot and what you do and your passion about well-being and everything.
all that.
All of it. All of it. I was like, I'm just making the sentence longer and longer and longer and longer. So go ahead, answer it all, Freya.
Okay, wow, it's a very big question. So 2 years ago, David and I opened Taproot Yoga Studio in Chardon. And I do feel like that was part of the process that started 5 years ago. I mean, my husband and I have always had our own business. Our first business together was when we were both in college, and I did faux finishes and decorative painting, and he was a handyman, and it was called D&F Home Designs. So David and Freya Home Design. So I just love that. I feel like it's so cute. It's so 20-year-olds thing to do,
Yes.
business. Okay, we have no idea what we're doing, like, and so we just started the business without any of the planning beforehand. And then once we had changed professions or, graduated, went into massage. David is a massage therapist and energetic medicine practitioner. He's a lot of other trainings and certifications. And then I got my yoga teacher training and then went on to get yoga therapy training. So anyway, our next business was Integral Life Healing. And that one, again, we started without any business background, any understanding of what went into it. So when we opened Taproot, it's the first time that it was our third business, but the first time that we ever made a business plan, that we ever got had investors, that we ever had to make up all those numbers you have to make up when you do a business plan, which is one of those interesting things that you learn when you go to make a business plan is that it's a lot of made up numbers. Anyway, we kept saying during that whole process that if we had known all of that, we never would have started our first two businesses because
Right.
it's so daunting and it can be so overwhelming. But having that background that we were like, okay, well, we made those work, imagine if we did it the right way, what we could do. But I feel like us doing it that way was because of that exposure in Red Key and then Nabo and just all of these different um, amazing resources where I could learn and people mentored me. And I mean, I'm so grateful to have had other women to just kind of like reach out a hand and say, hey, let me show you. You don't have to relearn everything. You don't have to figure it all out on your own. Yeah, so that
I
actually,
love your journey.
so that went a little off topic. You wanted me to talk about my
No,
passion.
I gave you the biggest question in the world, so you could not possibly go off topic.
Like I wouldn't go off topic even if you gave me like a very specific, like a yes or no question. I'm not going to go off topic. So yoga is such a huge, word. It and everyone has their preconceived ideas about what it is, and it can look like many different things. So it's a practice. It's all of the practices that help you to attain the goal. The word yoga also refers to the goal, and it also refers to a state of being. So yoga comes from the root word is yoke, like to yoke oxen together. And so the idea is that it brings together, it aligns all of the different parts of you. So your physical body, your mental body, your emotional body, your spiritual body. And the practices are all designed to help to bring you into alignment. So when you start with the physical body, you're aligning your skeletal system, you're aligning your muscles so that you have more ease in your body, so that you essentially don't feel pain and have as much tension. Because the more pain and tension that you have, the less you're going to be able to pursue whatever your passions are. So even if your passion isn't yoga, which I don't know how it could, not be everybody's passion, um, the practices themselves can still be really helpful in being tools to guide you or to help you to do better at whatever it is that you do, whatever you want to put your energy towards. If you don't have that energy to give, then you're not going to be able to attain those goals. So it really is very goal oriented, even though at the same time it's this paradox because it's also this state of being at ease in your body and your mind and being able to be still and meditate and accept yourself as you are. And all of that's true. And all of that is almost a prerequisite for being able to then create what you want, if that makes sense.
It absolutely. Well, and I love it's the paradigm. And it as you share that, I think it through from the time management perspective
Mm-hmm.
and look at, okay, you have the goal, but if you have your head down working super, super hard to get to the goal,
Mm-hmm.
you are making it harder to get to the goal
Right.
because you are reducing your energy and you're not enjoying the journey.
Yeah.
And getting to, like that goal will move.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not enjoying the journey to get there, you won't feel the satisfaction of getting there because you'll have bumped the goal
Right.
along the way.
Yeah. Or you get there and then you just feel kind of deflated. Like,
Yeah. Like, oh, what was this?
mhm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So as we're going about, or as you're sharing with us, going about, I don't even know where am I from, Australia now. As you're sharing your journey with time and how you've learned along the way things either from your first two businesses to start your third, or things that you started 5 years ago to get you to the place you are now in relationship with time, you have now this ability to what we call create the 25th hour, or you're able to have that extra hour in the day or in the week or how that looks. How do you like to spend it? How do you like to spend that extra hour?
Believe it or not usually doing yoga. Only because I do a lot of it already, kind of incorporated into my daily routine. I love to go hiking and just be in the woods. Go, especially with my husband, my daughter, if we can drag her along, and our dogs, and just to be in nature, and it can look many different ways. One way that sometimes it looks when the weather's nice is laying in the grass and staring up at the leaves of a tree, and kind of just watching the wind blow through the leaves is kind of mesmerizing. So that's a really one of my favorite things to do when the weather's nice is for just like a little mini break. Um, but even we went hiking the other day and it was a really rainy, gross day and I didn't want to. And I was like feeling cozy in the house. And I thought, you know what? This is just the beginning. If we don't make
Right.
ourselves out now, then there's no hope for the winter. So, I'm very determined this winter to not get stuck in the house or feel stuck and keep
Right.
um, yeah, and the place that we went the other day when we went hiking, I mean, there's so many beautiful parks around this area. We're really, really blessed, and we try to get them all, and like find new places. So we found a new place, and it literally felt like you were lost in the woods, but you weren't because the signs were really clear, but they were really tiny. So so you didn't see them, and you just like I was like it feels like we're just like wandering lost in the woods. So I had this, I don't know, I just felt like it really did give that sense like buffered completely from the outside world for a little bit. And again, just a reset, like pause in time something totally different than you're doing in your daily routine and giving you that break. So, not to mention trees are magic and all that good stuff about.
And I feel like that could potentially be a different podcast. Like all of a sudden you're moving somewhere. However, if people want to know more about trees being magic or in general, how can people get a hold of you? Because even though we're both here in Northeast Ohio, you are virtual,
I,
which is one of the silver linings of the dark COVID cloud is you were able to go and do things online. So how can people find you?
so our website is Chardon or taprootyoga.chardon.com. And we all of our classes are online and in studio. And then I also offer online workshops and trainings for different things. Like sometimes it's yoga therapy for back care or yoga for stress and anxiety or different specific issues that people might be dealing with. And so those are all offered live often. Some of them are pre-recorded. So yeah, so the website, and then or you can call me, or you know, lots about Facebook. We're on Facebook, Taproot Yoga, Chardon, Instagram, all those normal places, LinkedIn.
Right. And we'll put all your contact info in the show notes so that people can get a hold of you. And I am a huge fan of your reduce stress, increase resiliency. And I can't remember the exact name of that 5-week course that I took, but it was so incredibly helpful. And there's so much value in your online courses. There's value in general with you, but sometimes it's hard for that value to translate online. And you totally overgave in that area. There's a lot of value.
Thank you. Yeah, there's that program comes with all the downloadable meditations and then different length videos for different, reviewing the practices. And so yes, so definitely that whole project is a huge labor of love. So I'm really proud of it.
Freya, was there anything you wish I would have asked you so that you could share something else with our listeners?
Um, I don't know what the exact question would have been, but essentially, I want people to know that you don't have to study yoga for years and years to benefit from it, and you don't need to know all the practices or even have a very advanced practice at all. The important piece is to have some kind of daily practice in which you get in touch with your own body, like feeling and being in your own body so that you can start to tune into the messages that it's giving you, because our body doesn't speak in words and it doesn't send us an email um, and if we're not attuned to our bodies and we don't notice those subtle sensations, then usually it gets louder and louder and louder, and that's when we have chronic pain or an injury or something severe that then just takes longer to heal or deal with. So when you really understand that your body's wise and it's never trying to like foil your plans by being in pain or having tension, it's never trying to undermine you. It always has your back. Like your body wants to do as much for you as it possibly can. Even when we don't treat it that well, even when we, do the things maybe we know we shouldn't, it's still always trying its best. And so when you really believe that and you have a practice of being embodied in some way, and that can look like movement, or it can also look like a meditation where you do go progressively go through the parts of the body and feel them, feel sensations. Um, then those sensations start to make sense to you, and you start to have a deeper awareness of what's going on. And I guess for me, it's led to just more self appreciation, more compassion for myself, for others, but also to be able to stay in balance better and notice more quickly when I go out of balance, so that I can do something before it takes a really big deal to bring myself back into alignment. So I guess the take home message is like, listen to your body. It's really wise, and take the time to listen to it. Yeah.
Thank you for that message. I feel like it's kind of be where you are
Mm-hmm.
versus thinking, oh, I should be here or I should be there. Just be where you are, be in the moment, hear what's happening, and then react accordingly.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. instead of our brain thinking it has all the answers and it's going to like make our body do what it thinks we're supposed to do. Yeah.
Oh, thank you for being a guest. I so appreciate it. I've been looking forward to this all week. And so you, as always, over delivered with your experience and with the content and being authentically you. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Lisa, for inviting me. I'm really honored, and it's always a pleasure. It's a pleasure to spend time with you. Namaste.
Namaste.